Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Shay Ali here with you on Inspired Online. And this afternoon, we have the lovely Sarupa Shah with us. So I haven't gone anywhere too exotic today, literally down and we're still meeting on Zoom. But Sarup is an incredible lady. You might have met her because usually out of lockdown, she travels all over the world, speaking, inspiring, mentoring, sharing messages of transformation. She runs a business called the Soul Agency, and what is unique and special about it is she is very well versed in all these spiritual concepts, but can also help you on the material level as well. So it's a real kind of mix and marriage between the two of those to help you to get to where you really want to be. And she's a little bit magic in how to make money as well. So I know a lot of people approach you for that reason.
They do. I was just sharing the live, so people are probably wondering, what's she doing looking down? I was just sharing it. And I'm so happy Zoom's working, because it works sometimes for me and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, I have the same experience.
And also Zoom, I mean, to hear my mum and my older aunties all doing Zooming now, like the whole world is Zoom. It's kind of quite hilarious.
Yeah, I love it. It's actually, you never thought you'd get them on Zoom. It's like,
no.
I got my gran on a mobile phone for the first time.
Oh my God. I know, it's just amazing, like how everybody just realised that this is what we need to do. If we want to see each other, we need to do Zoom. So yeah, it's been a godsend. I bet they never knew how popular they'd be.
No. Well, let's start with our inspired question, which is, and I know you've taken the stage in London before, but it's lovely to have you on this format as well.
Great to be here.
Yeah. So if you had to share your wisdom with the world in a nutshell, what would you say?
Oh, questions like this, it can be so on the moment, but what I'm going to say, because I'm feeling like so much fun. My wisdom is, people often have always said to me, what's the purpose of my life? What's the purpose of my life? And sometimes with a bit of anxiety and stress and this thing. And I was, so many times I've been told by Spirit, the purpose of life is to have fun. And I never thought that was enough. It wasn't grand enough. It wasn't grandiose enough. It didn't have the labels. And we're so fixed on labels in so many, like locker room labels. How many intuitive spiritual words can I stick in my label of my title? And it's just like, it means nothing. So so my wisdom would be, the purpose of life is to have fun. If you're not having fun, if you're having fun, you're on track. If you're not having fun, start having fun and you'll get back on track. Then you'll be fulfilling your soul path without any of the drama of, job titles or launches or, whatever. It's just fun. And then in that, you start to not be in a box, because you start to have more creativity. That's my wisdom.
I love it. So what would you say to people that, a lot of us have continued working actually on lockdown, but you may not love what you do. You might have the employer, you might be a very social being, and suddenly you can't go into the office. You didn't really like what you did for a living. The only thing you were living for was maybe seeing your colleagues and going to lunch in your favorite place or whatever it was. How do you marry up that sort of life or that sort of career with having fun? I mean, what should you do? Should you quit your job, or should you do
I mean, what I would, when because people genuinely do feel that, and I mean, I would say find the fun. You find the fun, so you make something fun. So I remember when I was employed, they used to, it was incessant meetings, and often meetings of people that didn't like each other or were territorial about their departments or teams or services, and you'd feel a bit bullied sometimes, and you knew it was going to be a drain going in on that Monday for that meeting, and it was little things I started to do. And I remember once my then boss said to me, "Did you drug that person?" Because they were so nice. And I did something really simple, like change the venue of the meeting. So why don't we meet somewhere else? Because we're creatures of habit. So it's like when we sometimes, even as an over 21-year-old as I am, I can go to my
Are you
parents.
really?
Yeah, I'm just over 21, all right.
Yeah, same, 22.
Yeah. I'm not quite 20, not quite 22 yet. It will be in August. But like when the siblings in the old pre-lockdown world would get together at my mum's house, we would revert to type. We would revert to our teenage irritations with each other, me, my brother and sister, because we're creatures of habit. So we're in that same situation at the dining table, having little snipes and digs, and there'd be two of us ganging up on the other, and I'd always feel like they're ganging up on me, and then we laugh because you just think, my God, we've been doing this since we were like kids, but it still happens.
Yeah.
So it's change. Sometimes you can't change everything immediately. Some people can and will, and it's not always everybody's path to say, I'm just leaving my job then, because it actually, because sometimes we have to plan for it. But I say change what you can within, and at the same time, I've found when you start working on your next plan, your escape route, the tension ends, because you've got to find peace where you are anyway, otherwise you're going to recreate that energy. I've just found in my experience and work with people, we recreate what we've sort of run away from, and that saying of you can't run away. And I know it's a cliche, but I just think find something that can be fun. So as a business owner, like, I hate doing anything to prepare for my accountant. I hate, and as someone that works with like the energy of money, everybody probably think I've got the most exquisite Excel things going on, and I mean, like, if Excel opens, I'm like thinking someone's tampered with my laptop. It's just like, oh my God, I don't even know why I have to have Excel on my laptop. So it's like making it fun, change, if you always sort of sit down on a Thursday morning to do it, change the day, change anything that you can, because we're creatures of habit. And one really good example, Facebook shows us our memories.
Yes.
I find it really weird that on the same day for the last 3 years, I'd have had a Chinese meal from the same restaurant without knowing. And you're just like, oh my God, am I that much of a creature of habit? And lots of people sort of share that and sort of think, oh yeah, look, and I recently, last weekend, I saw a couple of years ago, I'd been to this place in Gloucestershire, Cowley Manor, and a few years prior to that, the same weekend I'd been there, and I just thought, wow, what the chances of that, just reaffirming the fact that we are creatures of habit. So if we don't have fun or don't know what's going on, change the habit. Break the pattern, change the habit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I had one come up recently when I was in America a few years ago, and I was supposed to be there right now, so I was like,
Oh yeah, again, so the memory thing on Facebook, I found really bizarre from a kind of sort of observational view of, wow, that's weird. I was at that restaurant 3 years in a row on the same day.
Well, this would be a good thing,
Yeah, I mean, obviously the food is great, so I've gone again, but it's just that sort of repeating. So it just shows, and even astrologically, things are on a cycle of repeat at certain sort of periods of time, which they are, very much so at the moment. So we often get to revisit things, which is why I said, if you're not happy at work, and this lockdown has particularly showed you how much happier you are, but you're going to have to go back soon in the next few months, and I know it's different for different industries, is start your escape plan. But also when you do go back, if that's what has to happen, see what you can do differently. And not just your inner stuff, which is always important, think positive, be, mindset, we know all of that, but it's actual physical breaking of patterns, I think, is underused, understood. We just need to do more of it.
So I'm going to ask, this may be a little bit of a left field question, but it comes from, I've heard two definitions of fun, and I'm going to share them with you. One is, fun means fully utilized now. And the other was, there's fun A and there's fun B. And fun A is when you're having fun and you're in the moment and you love it. And then fun B is like those things that you really don't want to do, but you look back and you're like, oh yeah, that was actually, So you might be in a fun bee moment. So I kind of like those. And I was wondering if you have a definition of fun to add to the mix.
I definitely don't like the first definition.
Yeah, okay.
It sounds too utilitarian, it's a bit like full use of now or whatever. But you know what? It's different, isn't it? At different days, different people, different times, different weather, different everything. How we wake up. Something like someone can tell you the same joke, and one day you laugh, and the next day you're just like, "Oh, that was rubbish." So but it's just about how you feel. It's whether you have the skip in your step, the oh, am I dragging myself up? So it's really, and sometimes we do it again. We drag ourselves up. Oh, I really don't want to do that. It's just an habitual thought. So we need, you need to be really disciplined. So my just thing is if you're laughing, are you joyous? Do we book? The thing I've been really looking at myself over lockdown is do I like, how often do I allow myself to be happy instead of just stressing or worrying or thinking about work or that shopping trip or that thing I've got to do for somebody or a thing I've got to read or my to-do list, which I love a to-do list, don't get me wrong, but it's that thing of realizing, why do I put all of that on top of my joy? So it's turning it on its head and put joy first. So that doesn't mean flippancy, doesn't mean anything like that. It just means like it's about having fun first. Be happy first, or don't do it. If it's not fun, don't do it.
I agree. And do you think you can fake it? So I'll give you a sort of example. I hate ice skating.
So do I.
I don't understand how you want to, but could I say I met someone that really enjoyed it and they really wanted to go, and so could I fake it?
No. Definitely not with ice skating, but I mean that's probably the most extreme example. I tried to fake it a few years ago when it was at when they do it in was it Somerset House, they do the ice rink. Yeah. I clung onto the sides and I had to get the security guard to help come and get me because I just thought, I can't stand this, I don't understand it, how can this be fun? Yeah. I didn't enjoy it. No, you can't. You might, sometimes we'll put up with certain levels of fun thinking, okay, this isn't my ideal, but it's, it's okay, because nothing, anything that makes us too stringent, if you have to have a criteria, then you've lost the spontaneity, because that's what fun's about, spontaneity. It is about being in the moment with spontaneity. But if we're having to checklist it, so I would say give it a go that one time, even though you don't like it, because you might like it. I like to give things another go. I don't think I'll give ice skating personally.
I want one of those little penguin things, that you hold on to.
Kids. I just found the whole experience quite torturous.
Sadly.
But yeah, spontaneity. I think it's really important that we and sometimes just go, I'm just going to give that a go. Yeah. Like, why not? I don't know where it's because we're so in a world where what's the outcome going to be? What's the point of this? What is it leading to? And that it's that mental energy. And sometimes does it have to have a reason? Does there has to be an outcome? Does it have to lead to something? Does it have to be something monumental? No. It can just be fun.
Absolutely. So now earlier you mentioned the energy of money. So talk to me a little bit about that. What is the energy of money?
It's so often I get people to do, I don't even know if I did it when I came to the Inspired stage, I get people to rub their hands, and with their eyes closed. And when you move your hands apart, and sometimes it takes a little while for you to attune to it, just if you haven't, and if there's other people around, you start to feel like this energy, it's a heat, it's something between you, that's energy. So when someone hurts themselves, or you do, we rub, it's automatic, like especially when a child has bumped and you're hoping, first of all, you try not to look so they don't cry, and then you quickly rub, or it's that comfort, an exchange, it's just and money, so everything, and this is I'm going to get the name wrong now, but that's it, quantum. I'm terrible with names sometimes, but the quantum sort of physics world sort of says, you know, that everything is energy into matter, and that's my belief. So everything starts in energy and then manifests into matter. So we're just balls and bubbles of energy, as is everything. It's just energy first. So money is an energy, so it's got a rhythm, it's got a frequency to it. And I mean, like a thing that I'm really getting interested in is the rhythm of it. So when you think about investments, you know, why are some people brilliant at investing? You know, why are there some amazing stock traders out there that kind of know when to pull out and pull in, you know, with investments, and there's something about understanding the cycle and the nature of money. And what we've learned in lockdown is that we don't control nature. We are part of it, but we're not above it. We're not above the planet. We're not above nature. We are part of it. And money and energy is all part of that same cycle of energy. So even this recession that people think we're, you know, at the foothills of, or I'm calling it the financial reset.
Okay.
You know, it's all about the way it's, you know, if you think about the word recession, recede from the word, you know, Latin, I think it comes from recede, and how waves go in, you know, they recede and they come back to shore. So it's just that same energy. It's just all part of a cycle.
Mm. And well, how do you ensure then that you're in you know, a good part of the cycle, especially now when some people perceive that they're not?
So expand. So if something is receding and you want it to expand, you need to, so in the question that you're asking, you need to expand. And we don't just expand our mind. I think a lot of money work has focused very much on mindset, you know, thinking. And if you think about it, and I'm using the word think, it's also where we're thinking the doom, the gloom, the worry, the stress. So it's kind of like battling there. So you need to engage other parts of you. So you need to engage your feelings. So you need to sort of work on feeling good, thinking good. And I also, the bit that I do bring in is the bit of us, the energy part, the soul part, you know, the vision, the dreaming, all those other bits. So you need to start, because we're so quick or to revert to this is it, it's a mess, it's going to be really hard, and that those sort of words have already kind of tipped us down again. So it's expansion. So actually and we want to, I mean, on a global level, we want to break this boom bust, you know, type of economy. I'm really into spiritual economics and creating win-win. So you need to start creating wins for yourself. And celebrating your wins, however insignificant your head tries to tell you it is. This is the energy we need to focus on. And practical action, you know. I know I'm not, you know, it can't all be ethereal stuff. It's got to be, you know, you've got to take practical action. We've got to take, and we actually immobilize ourselves when we're in a state of panic, particularly with financial stuff. We don't realize until you look back at how immobilized we had made ourselves.
Yeah.
And so knowing that that's going to be what you could have with hindsight is to make sure now you're doing, you know, some really practical things.
Yeah. And what is a practical thing that you could do right now?
So I knew you were going to ask me that, because I had an answer already for that. So, you know, you know, I do money work. I've hit the floor with money. I've done all sorts of things, you know, like it's like I'm a spiritual geek. I have to break down, to break through, to understand. And, you know, little things like if you've got credit card bills, you know, can you consolidate them? Speak to them? Can you get a 0% thing? Because people don't do that. We freeze. You know, it's just panic. So that could be a practical action.
Yeah. And when you say speak to them, because some people are not even going to be familiar with that concept. They're going to be like, the credit card bills arrived. Maybe my instant reaction is, don't open the bill, because that's scary.
Yeah.
Instead.
Well, I would speak to them about putting things on zero interest, you know, and I'm definitely not a financial advisor like that, but these are the things I've done. And and they may not, they may say yes, they may say no. They may fix the interest, or you may open another card and that's zero interest and transfer. So you're buying yourself some space and time. So that's a really practical thing. And so we look at and we get fixed on there's only one way to earn money. So if I know there's been a lot of people that have had jobs terminate on them or contracts terminate, and so if we're just kind of going down that same thing, but the industry's still shut, you're kind of you're hitting against a wall. And it's to start allowing yourself to think creatively. That it's a bit of a practical action and a bit of a sort of ethereal action together, but start to think, wow, what else can become possible? What else can I do? So again, it's taking tiny little steps, but then things like credit cards, how we shop, even just like I looked up my electricity and gas bill and found that I can save a couple of £100. Like there's so much information online in terms of all of that practical stuff that we don't do easily when we're in panic, because you're right, people don't open the bills, they just get flung to a side or put straight into the bin. And when I did that, so one day, years and years and years ago, I realized I'm not opening my bills, and this is before I started doing my money work, but I loved money and I was spiritual, and it was also confusing. And I started opening the envelopes. There were checks in there. One from a credit card company, £600 check because they'd made a mistake in the days when they were more willing to pay you. And then I had another one for like 10 grand just sent to me. And these are things I'd left from another endowment policy that had been missold. And I just thought, oh my God, I was so happy to throw this all away that it would have, so it's not, it was just like, and it was like kind of, I guess, the beginnings of my money work, because I thought there's something in this, like the fear I had, and yet look at this, I'm rich.
Yeah.
Or richer than I was before I was going to put it all in the bin.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got to, and you can't bury your head in the sand. There's no burying the head in the sand. However much it feels like it's comfortable, it's actually not, if you think about it from an action point of view.
Well, speaking of action, I've had this particular question. It's a biggie. Do you think your destiny, and we could say financial destiny if you like, is it fated or created, or both?
Both. I think there are it's interesting, because going back to that question about when people say to me, what's my sole purpose? If I'm just in that mood, I say, well, this is what I've been told, to have fun. It leaves them feeling hungry, but I'm like, it's not about a label. But we have this idea that we're not fulfilling our reason to be here, unless it's grandiose. But who's to say that we're not? So, so I think our soul will bring us to the people we need to be in front of, will take us. I mean, my mentor was saying, I heard her say the other day, she goes, if your soul needs you to be on this street corner at 7 o'clock on a certain day, by hook or by crook, you will be there, whether it's via a carrot or a stick, somehow you will get there. But what we do, because the fated bit is infinite. Our potential is infinite. But we get stuck on telling ourselves off. We get stuck on what's wrong, stuck on the fact that we might have made one mistake. So we punish ourselves for years and months and lives and whatever. But we also go off on tangents and diversions. So it all becomes part of our tapestry. Even if the stitching has gone off, it then gets stitched back in to create the picture. So there's always learning. So it's the difference between that scenic route or the most direct route, and us humans, I think, are very good at taking the scenic route, but when it comes to soul stuff, the direct route is the best route.
And how do you know which is the direct route? Is there a way to know even?
It's the ease and effortlessness of that. Doesn't mean that you're going to be challenge free, or you're not going to meet aspects of yourself that you need to let go of, practices and habits and things that we're talking about. but it's when things are flowing and opening up, and even then there's a caveat to that rule, because sometimes it's letting go of the outcome, letting go of the outcome. And as a for the work that you do, it doesn't matter how brilliant the argument and the case is, you know what, the outcome doesn't, for no reason, cannot go your way.
Yeah.
And that isn't a reflection on the client you might be representing or how they've been represented or anything. It's just how it is. And when you're in a flow, you don't take, you're more likely to not take things personally. You're going to be like, okay, so that happened. What's there for me to learn? Is there anything for me to learn? Yes, no. And moving. But we kind of like, in our diversions, and I know from my own life, we almost like to carry as many pails of water and have a donkey or choose, because it's almost like we've got to feel the pain to have the gain. And that's really old energy. It's just like grow through fun, grow through lightness, grow through love, rather than this old, if it's not hurting, it can't be good for me.
Yeah, that's not a good belief to take on, is
No.
it? Sarupa, it's been amazing to talk to you today. I was just wondering if you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share with our audience.
No, I've probably talked a lot. I don't, I haven't even seen if there's any questions or anything. If anyone's got any questions on anything I've talked about, or want to just say, no, I don't agree, I don't mind, put it in the comments. I will, I always have to have a conversation, and just to come back to the fun part, and it, like, as I'm saying it, the sun's back out. It was nearly getting dark here for a thunderstorm, but the sun's back out.
Happy with what you were saying.
Yeah, exactly. I always take that as a good sign. But I just think, and I know, I'm not a fool. I know we're in for a journey globally. And it's kind of, it's just beginning in a way, the financial part of it all. It's still unfolding and unfurling and whatever, but it's just use the opportunity to create what you want to be in the world. Use it as an opportunity, and don't see anything as a punishment or a that you've been sidelined by the universe or life in itself. See to find the opportunity, even if it means you're just having to hold on to one tiny thread. Hold on to that thread while you allow yourself to kind of find greater inner resource and inner wealth, because that's what it's, that's what's going to see you through.
Thank you so much. And if our lovely audience would like to get in touch with you, how can they do that?
So I've been tagged in this live, so you can find me that way via Facebook, or come to my website, soulagentblog.com, or just search. I'm on probably just about every social media, like the most of us.
Absolutely. Well, take care of yourself. So good to connect with you again.
And you.
I hope to see you very soon. Actually.
Definitely. Thank you.
Take care.